Hi, my name is David Higashi, and this is my project for Huntsman Scholar Entrepreneurship and Leadership Lab. I decided to do my project on creating a list of resources that are available to Huntsman students. Resources are that can be used in and outside of the classroom, and things that will help students in the future gaining knowledge or helping them save money in different areas. And creating a more accessible place online to help students find and access these different resources. Resources that I thought resources to me are resources like ad, advising or different programs on online programs such as Adobe or Bloomberg Anywhere. There's also RapidMiner, free Microsoft Excel. Like these different programs are free to students and for students to use. But there's also resources such as different programs on campus, such as the Sherm Club or Pro Sales or the marketing program. Or there's also resources such as tutoring centers, the accounting team center, or the computer lab in the Huntsman School. And these resources, they're so hard to find, and that's kind of why I chose this project is to help students find resources and let them know that it's available to them. A lot of students, there are a lot of resources that are very well known, such as advising by major or career advising. These are all so well advertised to the Huntsman School, while a lot of the other resources available to students are not, like how to use the study room, how to book a study room. There's not really a class that goes about that, or a announcement to the students in the freshman year that where they know they kind of have to learn by themselves. um, I also feel like resources are not easy to find. Either you have to know somebody that knows about it, or maybe your teacher in your class might let you know, but that's not really reliable because they might not know themselves, or maybe the school does advertise it but students don't see it. um, a good thing that I or a good research that I found that the school doesn't advertise is that Adobe is free to all students, and me being a marketing minor, I could definitely use Adobe and figure out how to work with it to add to my skill set as a marketer, and how to use Adobe and maybe use it in different projects that I had in my classes. And I just found out about that now. People do not know a lot about these resources until it's too late, where people are seniors or they even graduate without even realizing that these resources are open to them. And that's sad to me because their resources are being underutilized by students. I initially saw my project going where I researched what project resources that I know of or that I thought was unknown to the majority of students. Um, then I would also create a survey for professors and students to add to that list of resources that I've already started on. And then after I get a lot of my resources from professors and students, down collect students' responses and create a formal list I can present to an IT person or the webmaster for the Huntsman School USU page, where we could create a whole new site or extension to the Huntsman site to where the list would be held, and then put a banner link under the current students tab labeled student resources, and where students are is clearly accessible by students, and it's logically placed, and that would be the place where students can find the most resources provided by the Huntsman School or USU in general. And then help advertise this list and help students be aware of that, whether that's through classes, through emails, through Canvas, or through a formal statement by the school. Try to get that button noticed to where it's more utilized. This is a survey that I created for the students about to gauge kind of what they feel um, resources were, how resources were known or unknown, and how they feel about access, the ability to access these resources, and maybe giving them a place to tell about what resources they just found out about or resources they felt like were unknown to them. And some of these resources do have restrictions, such as the Bloomberg. You have to be a financing or you have to get access by Paul Felstead. Um, some of these resources are discounts to students. Like maybe it's not totally free to students, but you still have to pay a little bit. Um, there's a place for that as well on the survey for students to include that portion. I faced quite a bit of challenges, and these challenges were pretty big because it kind of shaped my project into something that I didn't truly expect when I first started. The first challenge is people did not know what qualified as resources. Resources to a lot of people are very vague. Um, Resources can be discounts, resources can be free programs, again, like online programs, computer programs, but it also could be access to the school, access to maybe social media to help students, where they feel like they get updated by the school on what's going on campus. Resources could also include where people um, what food places were open to them or discounts to food, or whether that, so resources kind of became something that was very vague, and I didn't know where to draw the boundaries of what was considered research and what was not. And this thought of how big or how vague resources can be, the people taking my surveys got overwhelmed and didn't know how to answer, or they had a whole bunch but they blanked out blanked on how or forgot about the resources to put. So they weren't able to fulfill the survey as best as they could, and they gave me limited answers. I also had to redefine for myself what resources meant, redefine who was able to use these resources, because there's also resources here on campus that are not only specifically for Huntsman students, but they're provided to all students. Like Wall Street Journal articles are for any student out there is $1 you have to pay, or Spotify Premium where people can listen to their study music or podcasts for a discount. And for me also is when I was doing the project, I found out that our suicide rates were going up, and a lot of people were not taking care of their mental health. And I really wanted to try and include like the CAPS resources or mental health resources that are available to them, and to address the problem or the issues or the needs that current students have. And there are already a bunch of lists out there on USU website that were buried, that didn't have were that existed, and but students were not finding. Like, there's a scholarship bank that helps filter out the scholarships that you as a student are able to apply for, that you qualify for. While there's also a list of online programs and discounts that's offered through the school. And so there's already lists out there, and I didn't know whether me creating a new list will be just another list that'll be buried somewhere deep in the USU website. So where I'm currently at is I found that there are a lot of students suffering, again, from bad mental health. I want to add more resources for mental health that are provided here on campus. And I found out that there are a lot of that events on campus, and getting involved in extracurriculars really helps students to raise their mental health and be better and take care of themselves. And it really adds to their college experience. So I want to add where students can get help or get involved or find events. Um, I'm currently finding more lists of resources, of different types of resources on campus, to add to the list, and maybe creating a master list to where people can find or use and navigate. I also want to get more professors' input on how to best navigate this because of how the project has changed. It's not me just finding resources anymore. It's trying to compile all the existing lists and adding more to it. The boundaries of what resources are considered, or what are considered resources, is still really gray. It's not black and white. I'm still trying to research on how students actually search for different resources online and in person. Maybe different search terms, or what do they type to find resources, or where do they go to find those resources. I also want to figure out how to better advertise and let students know about the different lists or resources available to them, and make it more effective to to combat the time difference of where people need it to when they're actually finding out about it. Thank you so much. That was my project, and I'm going to continue to work on it and make resources accessible to students, not only Huntsman students but USU students in general. Thank you for your time.